Good evening, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I always wondered how many people we could fit in here, and I think I figured it out. The truth is, if you've ever been to a U.S. Embassy National Day event before, it was probably at Quincy House. But you might have heard that Quincy House is now gone. On the site of my former home, actually the home of almost 12 former U.S. ambassadors, is fast emerging a brand new U.S. embassy. Now, our project is not exactly Niam or Gidea or Daria. There won't be any roller coasters or ski resorts. For the record, I asked the State Department for the roller coaster and they said no. But it will be a big and beautiful testament to the enduring U.S.-Saudi partnership. In fact, if anyone doubts the longevity and durability of the U.S.-Saudi relationship, all they need to do is look at our architectural plans or visit the construction site, and you'll understand why I tell everybody that America is going to be in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for a very long time. Now, I want to thank everybody who's here tonight. Your Highness, our celebration obviously comes at a fairly difficult time in this part of the world. As you know, the violence that's plagued Gaza and Sudan and Yemen is in every possible way tragic, and it's touched many of my colleagues here in a very personal way. Just know that we and our Saudi partners will keep working to meet the humanitarian needs of the civilians who are suffering so badly, and together we'll constantly strive for the sort of political solutions that can ensure that those conflicts never happen again. This is one of the many things that we and our Saudi partners do better when we do it together. Now, speaking of our Saudi partners, allow me to recognize our very special guest, His Highness Prince Feisul bin Abdulaziz bin Cayaf, the mayor of the Riyadh region, and I should add, a graduate of several U.S. universities. Thank you very much. We also have some very special guests from Washington. In the crowd, we have a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, Congressman Darren LaHood from the state of Illinois. We have a big delegation of professional staff members from the U.S. House of Representatives. We're really thrilled that they and all of you could join us tonight to celebrate the 248th birthday of the United States of America. Now, I have to thank all of our very generous sponsors, to all of the companies who helped us with this event. Just let me say, everything you see would not have been possible without your generous support. You have all of our gratitude. Now, I really shouldn't mention one sponsor if I'm not going to mention all of them, but I have to single out Boeing. Boeing brought with them a flight simulator for the F-15EX, and it's right back there if you want to get in line. I tried it out yesterday, and I can tell you it's pretty cool. I can also tell you I have no business ever flying a real fighter jet. But it's not all Boeing. I'm really proud to showcase all the great American and Saudi businesses that you see around you, all of them contributing to a thriving U.S.-Saudi economic partnership in every possible sector. Now, speaking of people that I'm proud of, it's my greatest honor to recognize our extraordinary U.S. Embassy team, and that includes Pearl Papp and her remarkable colleagues who organized this event. It also includes a much larger group of Americans and our local staff who make this embassy run every day of the year, and that starts with my awesome deputy, Allison Dilworth. It includes the U.S. Marine Security Guard detachment that you just saw. Our Marines remind me and all of my colleagues, not just tonight, but every day we walk into this building, that their dedication, their integrity, and their honor represent the very best of the United States of America. Now, it is no cliche. Every day I'm here, I'm reminded how fortunate I am. I'm fortunate to have been appointed as the U.S. ambassador at this remarkable moment in the history of Saudi Arabia and in the U.S.-Saudi partnership. And I am fortunate to be working with the most competent, the most dedicated, and the most diverse team in my 33 years as an American diplomat. The U.S. Embassy, of course, is a team of Americans from across the U.S. government, and we all work here every day to advance the U.S.-Saudi partnership in every possible way and in every corner of this country. Foreign policy and commerce, art and culture, media and education, law enforcement and counterterrorism, energy and finance. And of course, this is all underpinned by people-to-people ties, by the travel we facilitate for our Saudi friends who work and study and vacation in America, and by the many Americans who travel here to discover new friends in a very new Saudi Arabia. But we're not all Americans. In fact, we Americans at the embassy are outnumbered by a stunningly talented group of Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Filipinos, Yemenis, Palestinians, Syrians, Moroccans, Jordanians, Lebanese, Egyptians, Sudanese, Kenyans, Nepalese, Ethiopians, Somalis, Eritreans, South Africans, Sri Lankans, and of course, Saudis. Some of our staff have worked at the U.S. Embassy. Thank you. Some of our staff have worked for this embassy since I was a much younger man, and I dare say they'll be working with us long after the American diplomatic staff has moved on. I am profoundly grateful for their loyal service and for their friendship. Now, some of you might be wondering, why are you surrounded by all this outer space paraphernalia? And why is this gigantic moon looming over all of us? Now, you should know that this moon is actually called the Museum of the Moon, and it was created by a UK artist with global renown named Luke Jarrett. Luke created the Museum of the Moon to allow us, certainly all of us tonight, to contemplate the relationship that we as humans over millennia have had to the moon, and to connect that to the latest developments in planetary science. The moon is a place we've all wondered about, dreamed of, written tributes to, and some have even landed on it. We brought the Museum of the Moon to our Independence Day as a symbol of the growing US-Saudi partnership in the space sector, and also as an illustration of how art can inspire us to think about our world and to think about our future. We also brought it because it really looks cool. And in fact, Luke Jerem is with us tonight, and if you see him, tell him how cool it looks and thank him for this amazing work. So sure, I think space is a fun theme for an Independence Day reception, but as you can imagine, there's bigger meaning. Space travel has always been about the future. Whether we cheer a rocket launch at Cape Canaveral, as you see here, or whether we watch a film about extraterrestrial life, our thoughts inevitably drift to what the future holds. Never has that been truer than now, at the age of commercial space travel. And as the groundbreaking innovations that this will bring to humanity, not just in the distant future, but in our own lifetimes, it's all finally coming into focus. Now, I don't know two countries which think more ambitiously or who are better positioned to embrace those opportunities than the United States and Saudi Arabia. Now, I will tell you, I am old enough to remember sitting in our family room in 1969 and watching our old black and white television as Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon. By the way, I also remember being transfixed 7 years later in 1976 when I saw Star Wars for the first time at our local cinema. It's because space travel, whether it's real or imagined, is like no other endeavor. It seems to inspire everyone from all walks of life to think about the future. It certainly did for me. Back in 1969, that giant leap from landing on the moon to exploring distant galaxies far, far away, it didn't seem so great. Maybe it was my own youth, or what at the time seemed like an unprecedented acceleration of technology, but it all seemed so possible. One thing we learned, though, is that exploring space requires hard work and it requires courage. It was never going to be easy. But as John F. Kennedy said, we don't do things like exploring the moon because they're easy. We do them because they're hard. Now, it would be 12 years from the moon landing to the launch of the space shuttle, Columbia. And it was another 17 years before the International Space Station was put into orbit. But the exploration of this greatest of frontiers now is truly accelerating. And it's accelerating before our very eyes. That new era of space exploration, research, and investment that we all expected in 1969 is happening now. And it's happening because of the extraordinary power of private industry, working not just as contractors, but as full partners, seizing the amazing, life-changing commercial opportunities that space travel and space exploration offer. Two of these amazing companies are with us tonight, and you can see them. Sierra and Axiom are right behind you. Excuse me. They're amazing representatives, and there are more like them, of the innovation and ambition of the US space industry. Now, let me just close by saying that since I've been in the kingdom, I've been privileged to meet the Saudis, who have been this country's pioneers in space travel. I met His Royal Highness Prince Sultan bin Salman, who blazed the trail, joining the crew of the US space shuttle back in 1985. And then last year, I met two new Saudi stars who would take flight. I'm sure you've heard of them. One is a microbiologist named Rayana Barnawi, and the other is an Air Force pilot named Ali Al-Qarni. And they very quickly became two of the most famous Saudis in the world. Now the truth is this. The truth is this, it took us 40 years from Prince Sultan to Rayana and Ali. But I doubt we will have to wait anything like 40 more years for the next Saudi astronauts to reach the stars. And let me tell you, when they do, America wants to reach the stars with them. So thank you. Thank you for joining us this evening as we all gather for 2 months early for America's 248th birthday. And thank you as we celebrate, along with our Saudi friends, Your Highness, the boundless future, the future of innovation and of ambition and of fearless exploration that we can all embrace together. Thank you.